Omani Beme Hong, Gawadi Nudo, Janice on Roger Jamalova, Te Salang, Chanjo Sunjo, Maji Bananti, Javanya, Bamavanya, Kone, Kondo, Panwara, Shaw. Now today, yeah, Jujukoya, Juju Pujukoya. Actually, more, what's today? As I mentioned the other day, Buddhism, three parts. Now today, more Buddhist religion. So therefore, as we usually do, if you say Pali, the Kasoda.
Chant.
Ka.
Chanting.
Ka.
Chanting.
Chanting there, then usually the Pali do first. Now I think here not available. So you, I think come here. You are Indian, our guru, and monk, and a scholar. So Sanskrit scholar, maybe a Sanskrit scholar. So you now recite Heart Sutra in Sanskrit.
Om Anirodham Anutpadam Anuchadam Ashashvatam Anekartham Anartham Anamam Anirgamam Yah Pradid Samudpadam Prapancho Pashmang Shivam Deshyama Sambhastang Vande Vadata Varanam Pragya Paramita Hridaya Sutram Nama Sarvyaya Aryavyukteshvara Bodhisattva Gambhirayang Pragya Paramitayang Charyang Charmano Vyavlokiti Sma Panskandaha Tashang Sabhav Shunyan Pashyati Sma Eshadiputra Rupam Shunata Shunateva Rupam Rupan Pratak Shunata Shunatayana Pratak Rupam Yad Rupam Sa Shunataya Shunata Tadrupam Eme Vedana Sangya Sanskara Vijnanani Shariputra Sardharmaha Shunyata Lakshana Anutpanna Aniruddha Amlana Vimla Nonana Paripurnaha Tasmachariputra Shunyatayang Narupam na Vedanana Sangyana Sanskarana Vijnanani Na Chakshu Shrotagrana Jiva Kaya Manasing Na Rupa Shabda Gandhasa Sprashtava Dharmaha Na Chakshu Dhatu Yavan Mano Dhatu Na Vidya Na Vidyakshayo Na Vidyakshayo Yavan Jaramarnang Na Jaramanang Chyo Na Dukha Samudaya Nirodha Marga Na Jnanang Na Praptivam Bodhisattva Se Pragyaparamita Mashrite Vihirti Chittavarnaha Chittavarna Nastitu Vatrasto Viparyasati Kranto Nishnirvanaha Tradavasadaha Sarbuddhaha Pragyaparamita Mashrita Anuttarang Samyak Sambodhi Abhisambuddhaha Tasma Jagyatavya Pragyaparamita Mahamantro Mahavidya Mantro Nuttara Mantro Asamsam Mantraha Sarvaduk Prashamanaha Satyamittitvat Pragyaparamita Mukto Mantraha Tata Gade Gade Par Gade Par Sangate Bodhi Swaha Gade Gade Par Gade Par Sangate Bodhi Swaha Gade Gade Par Gade Par Sangate Bodhi Swaha Pragyaparamitam Bodho Shubharatna Kare Swayam Sarvaparamitastattra Tadatmanam Vavasadaha Nishprapancha Nirabhasha Nirvikalpa Niralaya Nisubhava Parasushma Bindunad Vivarjita Pragyaparamitam Mata Sarbuddhodaya Para Trianuplabdhi Rupa Sarvajnana Gochara Niralamba Pade Pragya Niralamba Mahakripa Eki Bhutaha Deya Sadharm Gagane Gaganam Yatha.
Thank you. So thank you. This language is used by all those Nalanda masters. Of course, they also use Pali language, but all their writings in Sanskrit. I think this language, produced a lot of Buddhist masters, and also non-Buddhist masters also, like that. So, when my Indian friend, when the chanting in Sanskrit, very moving. So many years ago, I think now nearly 50 years ago, one great Sanskrit scholar, Upadeva, one time he came to see me, and we just, sort of, touched the different sort of scriptures, and then he mentioned the
Prasanapada, the expression of worship, a verse from Prasanapada.
You see, then he used to recite that. Very moving, like that. So, the Sanskrit text, obviously the Sanskrit grammar, Kalapa, Hindi Kalapa text. The first chapter I learned, taught by my teacher, Lingu Rinpoche. So that lesson quite funny. So anyway, I learned that first part.
Sandhi.
Oh, so very complicated. I think that time, the Lingu, of course, knows quite well. So me is the first time, so I made a lot of mistake. So Lingu laugh like that. Or in fact, last night I dreamt Lingu Rinpoche, and I asked him on teaching of Drense teaching
The clear,
Shantideva.
the bright light of Chandrakirti, Guhyasamacha commentary.
So of course, dream, no longer there. Like that. Now we already talk about the, basic structure of Buddha Dharma, and through that way, we now get what is the ultimate goal, and anyway of our sort of final destination. The Buddha seed fully sort of developed. That stage is our final destination. First, we need motivation. That we already mentioned, already discussed. Now the method, how to reach there. Basically, Buddhist sort of structure, three training. Right?
Training of morality.
Shila, Samadhi, Prajna.
The trainings of morality, concentration, and wisdom.
Mm-hmm. So actual, the path is the wisdom which understand. Of course, wisdom, there are a variety of wisdom, but here the main wisdom is wisdom which understands shunya. Now that wisdom, in order to become very powerful and penetrate in deep because of the reality. Our present mental state always scattered. So this level of mental state is cannot penetrate in deep sort of reality. Or it is impossible, the deep realization. So therefore, our scattered mind must be channelized. Right.
No, must be subsided for a while. Channelized, no? Must be channelized.
So that is the purpose of practice of samadhi. Focusing one's own mind on single pointed sort of training. That is samadhi. So we need that practice, and then for that, the main sort of the instrument to hold our mind on single sort of point.
Single object.
There's mindfulness.
And introspection.
Mainly mindfulness. And then meantime, whether mind really concentrate on it or not, you see, from one corner of our mind must check. That is Shishinsai.
That is introspection, mental faculty of introspection.
So these two things are main the instrument to holding our mind. For that, we must sort of, we must build the power of mindfulness. So Shila comes. The Shila means, our physical action, verbal action, mainly these two. You see, they always sort of, firstly, we should know what is right thing, right action, and wrong action. Then, Shishin.
Yes. Then with the help of introspection,
24 hours, including dream, watch whether my sort of physical action, verbal action, and mental thinking go right,
on the right
way, or wrong, or not. So always watch. So then, immediately when you see your because of the action go a little bit direct, or because of the facing some danger, commitment of wrong action, then mindfulness immediately you stop, restrain. That's the practice of Shila. So self-discipline. So there are, of course, you see, basically I think two different kinds of discipline. One discipline by force. Like I think Chinese people, they are very good discipline, as I mentioned earlier, yesterday, in the former Soviet Union. Discipline is very, very good. So now today in China, I think over 1.3 billion human beings acting almost like one person, isn't it? So that's very really is a burden, right? Really burden. But another kind of discipline, you see, from awareness and voluntarily self-discipline. That is now here is a discipline that kind. Firstly, we know our aim, our beneficial, right?
benefits.
Benefits. How wonderful if that goal achieved. So then there is willingness, you see, to make effort to achieve. In order to achieve that, there's some wrong things, then voluntarily restrain. That's self-discipline. So that's Shila. So the first level of training of mindfulness. So the Arya Deva, or I think I I think as far as our goal is concerned, final goal is Buddhahood. In order to achieve that, we must have this human being's intelligence. Without that, we can't do. So therefore, we must, our aim is looking there, but the immediate sort of our preparation or effort, we must create a guarantee next life will be human life. Should be human life. So that our practice can carry continuously. So we must, prepare well about next life. So therefore, Nagarjuna stayed in Ranamala, stayed
that in terms of the
goal, there are two goals. Where the one is temporary and the other is ultimate goal. The temporary one is that of higher states, higher rebirths, and the ultimate is that of the what is known as definite emergence or liberation.
So the method to achieve good birth, that is mainly non-violence act. Because violence, harming other, brings negative birth, low really. So helping other, serving other, that creates the virtues which bring good life, good birth. Then for salvation, mainly the wisdom, the shunya. So the three training, shila, samadhi, prajna. Like that. So therefore, the Arya Deva is mentioned. Sunamiba Tangpondos, that's it. Sunamiba Tangpondo, part of the Aryan Tomperchi, Tamata Shikundo.
Aryadeva, in his 400 stanzas, he said that in the beginning, refrain from the non-meritorious actions. In the middle, refrain from grasping a true existence of the self. And in the end, you refrain from everything else.
Yeah. So this level, this moment, in our day-to-day life, is refrain harming other and do something good for other. Now here, out of 37 practice, the parliament like yes, daddy, Salia, the Lamgal Chayunduzane, Kundran Chigiari. That Lamgal Machachina, the native Tons, Ludu, Sum, Javacho, Tons. Then the savage, oh, this 6 in Marva. The parliament like gas in Kora suit because of December. There's a Sudan and so Cham member check, Kora Sudan, Chiksungsha. So the need to tang on the parliament like gas that day, that direction, the Nirita, Miss Gadanti. And Yana Gadi, Lovasumnal, Limdua. So that Nialanganzu. 양답을 소화했다는데 김전 때문에 개주 된대매체 양답을 소화 록수 말려봐 되네 양답을 내기다 즉 소수 치단 가리미네 즉 뭐네 즉 션 내베직 매딩 아니 양답을 나 지다때 류막 미주 가서 샤뉴가 정신쟁이 룡하가 내 dum부디다 대창소 양답에 소화 양답에 내다 양답에 나 디체 다 전에 양답에 띵인지로 주는 다 애니 양답에 참바 용이다. 다 양 방안에 좀 챙기면다. 다 전에 양답에 따와 양답에 똑바 양답에 줘야 돼. 다 디디 인 싫고 없이. 가장 아주 일이 먼저 다 나는 게 아주 좋아.
Among 37 practices to be carried in order to achieve liberation, there is one set of practice among the 37 known as the Eightfold Noble Paths. And the practice of these Eightfold Noble Paths, again, there are two kinds. One, in the context of a practitioner, advanced practitioner, who is already traversing along the five paths to enlightenment. And there is another way of explaining as to how to practice this Eightfold Noble Paths. So this, I could recall having seen in one of the treatises, very likely written by one of the students of Nagarjuna. And according to the second version, the Eightfold Noble Path is what even the ordinary beings can practice in their daily lives. So these Eightfold Noble Paths can be summarized into three groups in relation to the three high trainings. The training in ethical discipline, training in meditative concentration, and training in the wisdom. So we can perhaps put it in this way. The first set would constitute the correct livelihood. Correct livelihood, meaning that one is to lead a life without extra unnecessary elaborations or leisure and so forth, and also not being tainted by wrong livelihoods. And so, and another way, the second one is the correct action. So all your actions that you carry on in your daily lives should be always freed of stains from harming others. So that should be really having a harmless nature. And the third one is a correct speech. So these three constitutes the seven, refraining from the seven non-virtuous actions associated with the body and the speech. So Refraining from all harmful physical and verbal actions. And then we also have among the eight noble paths, we also have the correct view, the correct analysis, and correct meditative concentration. So we see that they are the three higher trainings involved in the practice of the Eightfold Noble Paths.
In our daily life, as soon as, I think firstly, of course, monk, no dinner, basically, unless you're very hungry. Basically, it's no dinner. And then lay people also, I think, better less eat,
Less amount of dinner.
Less dinner, so that you see you can wake up a bit earlier next morning. Then, as soon as you wake up, remember Buddha and Buddha's teaching. Mainly the summarized Buddha's teaching, wisdom side and because of the practice side.
The method side. Method. The conduct or the practice.
Conduct non-violence based on compassion. The wisdom, interdependency. Remember these two things. Right from the day start, and then make some kind of pledge. I must carry the rest of the life, the rest of the day, according to these two. The conduct, non-violence, not harming others. View, Bodhisattva or interdependency. So I will deal whenever I face some the problem or some sort of goals or
Those, you encounter with things.
something we want to achieve and something we do not want and we want to get rid of. In both cases, I must sort of keep the concept of interdependency, interconnectedness, so that, let's say, we can see the more holistic, as I mentioned before. So, firstly, our mind can be more calm. Secondly, our method will be more realistic, because, you see, knowing the whole picture, looking not only just one dimension, but 4 dimensions, 6 dimensions. So then it becomes holistic. So that's these two practice or two concepts, I think very, very useful. It shows some kind of guideline, the rest of the day sort of actions, activities like that. Then you wash all these things or take bath like that. And then, you see, perhaps, I think you see this 3 chapter, mainly it's 2 chapters, 2nd chapter, 3rd chapter. Maybe when you feel happy, I think then read, enough time. Yeah, if you are not happy, then leave it. So if possible, my own case, of course, is the 4 or 5 hours of some recitation, some meditation, some analytical meditation, and visualization like that. So you, of course, cannot do that. So at least half an hour, perhaps, you should read these 2 chapters and slowly, as a contemplation, right?
No, contemplate.
Think. And then, as you see, we are going to take the pledge of altruism. So, do that. And then maybe that is the yang da we da ye chue di le song, yang da we to ba de chue di le song, chan ba di le song.
So if you carry your morning, start your morning in this fashion, then among the 8, the practices of the 8 Fourth Noble Paths, it already subsumes, or it already indicates the practice of the correct view, the correct analysis, and correct mindfulness.
Then also this tingzi,
and the correct meditative concentration.
And then perhaps, say, if you wish, visualize Buddha and Nagarjunas and these sort of great masters. The 17 great masters of picture.
His Holiness is wondering if you have a picture of...
If available, sufficient, then I think I want to distribute each one. These are not deity, but these are human being. Buddha himself, human being, not a semi-human being, real human being. He come from his mother, with help of father, like that. So human being, not come from egg, not come from lotus, but just human being. So we consider him as a human teacher, like that. At the deeper level, of course, see, we consider it Buddha, like that. So that's different. So all these 17 Nalanda masters, from Nagarjuna up to Shantideva, up to Shantarakshita Kamalashila, and Dipamkara Shirijana. So all these are human beings, our teacher, Indian teacher, most cases South Indian teacher. You from which state? Bihar, the poorest state. I think most blessed area, but remain very, very poor. So that's the Kasuda. So then some samadhi, single pointed mind, visualize Buddha and surrounded by these great masters. That part of practice of samadhi. And eventually you get some Kasuda experience, then that can extend. First 1 minute, then 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour. Then eventually can be 3-4 hours. Then real single pointed mind in good quality, not just a dull like that. Not that way. Full alert and very clear, without any sort of shaking,
Wavering.
Then if can remain 4 hours, then you can utilize that mental concentration power to different purpose, and particularly Tantrayana. Then you see, concentrate on these different channels. Through that way, you can actually dissolution.
Withdraw and dissolve.
So eventually through that way, grosser level of mind dissolve, then subtle mind become active,
Activated.
like that. So sound looks very easy and very good, but practice, not easy. But it is possible. So let us start some sort of effort, isn't it? Like that. So that is part of out of eight is the samadhi part. Then perhaps some joyful way, just
Rejoicing.
rejoicing. Then dedication, more.
And dedicating the merits so accumulated.
Then breakfast. And then start your daily life. So during your daily life, or in office or what kind of any work, right, the mindfulness remain there, and remember from the beginning of our days, the life, you should remember, you should rest of the day, I must be
Use productively. Use productively,
Oh,
meaningfully.
Compassionate way. So remember that, and then rest of the life, rest of the day, you see, carrying your work. That did you any?
Yes. Again, while you are in your daily chores, the mindfulness plays a very important role. Yes. And then on the basis of this strong mindfulness in your daily chores, then comes the correct speech, the correct livelihood, and the correct action.
So that's the way. And then at the end of the day, and review,
No.
something like review. Then you feel, okay, now this day, I carry my daily life according my the morning
Initial motivation.
then you should feel rejoice,
You rejoice over what you have done.
and make some determination. Next day, and next month, next week, next month, next year, I will do that. If something goes a little wrong, then sometimes it is necessary for confession. Confession. regret. Simply regret. And make further sort of pledge, I do not commit in the future anymore, that kind of thing. So that's the way our daily life, then it's bound to improve our life. And here I think we must make distinction, the contentment. For personal sort of thing, it is much useful because of that, content. But for improvement of the society or country or global level, we should not have contentment. So differences, isn't it? And then also is the forgiveness, tolerance. For personal thing, yes, these are
Necessary.
as much you can. Then, even if it's a personal level, if other take some mischievous people take advantage on you, then think very carefully. If let she or her or him
Harm to her.
wrongdoing, think if that eventually harmful for themselves, then out of sense of concern, out of respect, out of concern of their future, their well-being, appropriate countermeasure is necessary. That does not mean not practice of forgiveness. No, because of the sheer no, but under the out of sense of concern, out of compassion. So in Bodhisattva's vow, there is one sort of precept. If I can stop others' wrongdoing, even with a harsh method, there is possibility to do that, but not commit that wrong.
No, stopping the wrong. Stopping the wrong is wrong.
So we should know using these ultimately Shantideva mentioned that all our act should aim some benefit. So sometimes, you see, in order to bring benefit long term, sometimes wrathful action is necessary. It mentioned like that. So therefore, you see, the flexibility.
Yes. So here we see. So here we see a great degree of flexibility in terms of the practice. There is no absolute rules as such. So in the text, Shantideva well mentioned that by seeing the benefit, see if your action brings about that benefit. If it does, don't hesitate to engage in that action.
Our mental state, on the level, just thinking one's own interest, then Buddha, there's many prohibitions. Right? No. Once your mental state is reach mainly concern for well-being of other, then situation is different. So therefore, again Shantideva says,
so then the Shantideva said that for those beings, the compassionate ones, many of what is prohibited for the ordinary people, for them. Sorry. The Buddha, who is the ever compassionate being, he allowed many of the actions which were originally prohibited to the ordinary people. allow to those who are compassionate or who can tackle things so
Greater
tactfully.
goal,
Those,
bigger goal,
those who aim for having
and
a greater goal.
long-term benefit. Then some method, harsh method, in Vinaya, prohibited. But Bodhisattva yana, then allow. It's a different aim, Vinaya level, just one's own salvation. So, all these harsh methods completely prohibited. Then Bodhisattva vow, Bodhisattva's level is mainly concerned about others' well-being. With no slightest sort of selfish interest. Then through that way, we see there's some action necessary to stop wrongdoing for other. So they committing because of the negative karma. So out of sheer sort of compassion, sheer sort of sense of concern, then, if necessary, some harsh method to stop that. So these are the Buddhist sort of the
So this is the trend.
So now, they bring this book.
This A Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, the sky blue booklet. Sorry, the green. Yes. So from chapter 2.
Oh yeah. Together, read.
So, chapter 2, please.
Perhaps I think, perhaps visualize, as I mentioned earlier, Buddha Shakyamuni, real sort of the living Buddha Shakyamuni, visualize. And then those Bodhisattvas, great masters, like Nagarjuna and Aryandeva and Arya Asanga, all these. Then, now read this.
So please read together. In order to seize that precious mind, I offer now to the Tathagatas, to the sacred Dharma, the stainless jewel, and to the disciples of Buddha, the oceans of excellence, whatever flowers and fruits there are, and whatever kinds of medicine, whatever jewels exist in this world, and whatever clean, refreshing waters, likewise gem-encrusted mountains, forests, groves, quiet and joyful places, heavenly trees bedecked with flowers, and trees with fruit-laden branches of terrestrial incense, wishing trees, jewel trees, uncultivated harvests, and all ornaments that are worthy of being offered, lakes, and difficult, everything unknown within the limitless spheres of space. Creating these things in my mind, I offer them to the supremely beings, the Buddhas, as well as their children. O compassionate ones, think kindly of me and accept these offerings of mine. Having no merit, I am destitute, and I have no other gifts to offer. O protectors, who you think of helping others by your power, accept these for my sake. Eternally shall I offer all my bodies to the conquerors and their children. Please accept me, your supreme heroes. Respectfully shall I be your subject. By being completely under your care, I shall benefit all with no fear of conditioned existence. I shall perfectly transcend my previous transgressions, and in the future shall commit no more. To a very sweetly scented bathing chambers with brilliantly sparkling crystal floors and exquisite pillars ablaze with gems, with canopies above aglow with pearls, I beseech the Tathagatas and their children to come and bathe their bodies from many jeweled vases with food to the accompaniment of music and song. Let me dry their bodies with incomparable clothes, clean and well anointed with scent, and then may I present these holy beings with fragrant garments of suitable colors. I adorn with manifold ornaments and various raiments, fine the Arya Samandabhadra, Manju Kosha, Avalokiteshvara, and all others. Just like polishing pure, refined gold, I anoint the Buddha's palms, which blaze with light, with the choicest perfumes, whose fragrance permeate 1,000,000,000 worlds. And to the highest objects of giving, I offer beautiful, well-arranged garlands, as well as an enchanting, sweet-smelling flowers, such as lilies, jasmine, and lotus blossoms. Also, I send forth clouds of incense, whose sweet aroma, as well as celestial delicacies, including a variety of foods and drinks. I offer them jeweled lamps arranged on golden lotus buds. Upon lands sprinkled with scented water, I scatter delicate flower petals, though I offer palaces resounding with melodies exquisitely illuminated by hanging pearls and gems that adorn the infinite space. Buddhas, jeweled umbrellas with golden handles and exquisite ornaments embellished with the rims standing erect and their shapes beautiful to behold. In addition, may a mass of offerings resounding with sweet and pleasing music, like clouds that appease the misery of all, ease remaining for as long as necessary. And may continuous rain of flowers and precious gems descend upon the reliquaries and statues and upon all the jewels of Dharma. In the same way as Manjughosha and others have made offerings to the conquerors, similarly do I bestow gifts upon the Tathagatas, the protectors, their children and all. I glorify the oceans of excellence with limitless verses of harmonious praise. May these clouds of gentle eulogy constantly ascend to their presence, with bodies as numerous as atoms within this universe. I prostrate to all the Buddhas of the three times, the Dharma and Supreme Community. Likewise, I prostrate to all the reliquaries, to the base of awakening mind, to all learned abbots and masters, and to all the noble practitioners. I seek refuge in all the Buddhas until I possess the essence of awakening. I seek refuge in Dharma and in the assembly of Bodhisattvas. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who possess the great compassion and reside in all directions. Throughout beginningless cyclic existence in this life and others, unknowingly I committed transgressions and ordered them to be by others. Overwhelmed by the deception of ignorance, I rejoiced in what was done, but now seeing these mistakes from my heart, I confess them to the Buddhas. Whatever harmful acts of body, speech, and mind I have done in a disturbed mental state, towards the three jewels of refuge, my parents, my spiritual masters and others, and all the grave wrongs doomed them. Though thoroughly vile and polluted with an abundance of faults, I openly declared, guide to the world, may I be before me. So please protect me in such a way as will swiftly and surely free me from them. The untrustworthy Lord of Death waits not for things to be done or undone, whether I am sick or unheard. Leaving all, I must depart alone, yet through not having understood this, I committed various kinds of wrongdoing for the sake of my friends and foes. My foes will become nothing, my friends will become nothing, I too will become nothing. Likewise, all will become nothing. Just like a dream experience, whatever things I enjoy will become a memory. Whatever has passed will not be seen again. Even within this brief life, may friends and foes have passed, remains ahead of me. Therefore, through not having realized that I shall suddenly vanish, I committed so much wrong out of ignorance, lust, and hate, remaining neither day or night, or slipping by and never getting along. Why would death not come like me? Why, although surrounded by friends and relatives, the feeling of will be experienced by me alone. When seized by the messengers of death, what benefit will friends and relatives afford? My merit alone shall protect me then, but upon that I have never relied. O protectors, I so unconcerned, unaware of such terror as this, accumulated a great debt for the sake of this transient life. Petrified is the person today being led to the torture hammer, with a dry mouth and dreadful and sunken eyes, his entire appearance is transfigured. What need to mention the tremendous despair when stricken with the disease of great panic, being clasped by the frightful messengers of death? Who can afford me real protection from this great horror? With terrified, bulging eyes, agape, I shall search in every direction for refuge. Upon seeing my refuge anywhere, I shall become invalid. If there should be no protection there, then what shall I be able to do? Therefore I now seek refuge in the Buddhas who protect the world, who strive to shelter all that lives, and with great strength eradicate all fear. Likewise, I purely seek refuge in the Dharma which they realized, clearly observe it, cycling existence, and also in the assembly of Bodhisattvas. I, trembling with fear, offer myself to Samandapatra, to Manjuko shall also make my body. To the protector of Avalokiteshvara, who infallibly acts with compassion, I utter a mournful cry, please protect this miscreant. In my search for refuge, I cry from my heart for Shantideva and all the compassionate protectors. And I seek refuge in Vajrapani, upon the sight of whom all harmful beings, such as the messengers of death, flee in terror in all directions. Previously I transgressed your advice, but now, upon seeing this great fear, I go to refuge. By doing so, may this fear be swiftly cleared away. If I need to comply with the doctor's advice when frightened by a common illness, then how much more so when perpetually diseased by the manifold agitations of desire and so forth. And if all people living on this earth can be overcome by just one of these, and if no one can is to be found elsewhere in the world, then the intention not to act in accordance with the advice of the all-knowing physicians that cannot every misery is extremely bewildered and worthy of scorn. If I need to be careful near a small ordinary precipice, then how much more so near the one deep duration that rubs for 1,000 miles. It is inappropriate to enjoy myself, thinking that today alone I shall not die, for inevitably the time will come when I shall become nothing. Who can grant me fearlessness? If I shall inevitably become nothing, how can I relax and enjoy myself? What remains from the terminated experience of the past, yet through my great attachment to them, I have been against my spiritual master's advice, having departed from this and
from all my friends and relatives.
If I alone I must go
elsewhere, what is the use of making friends and enemies?
How can I be surely freed from the unwholesome, the source of misery, continuously day and night?
I should only consider this.
Whatever has been done by me through ignorance unknowing, be it by breaking of vows or deed by nature wrong, I humbly confess it all in the presence of the protectors, with folded hands, prostrating myself again and again, my mind terrified by the misery to come. I beseech all the guides of the world to please accept my transgressions and wrongs. Since these are not good, in future I shall do them no more.
Our third chapter, read.
Third chapter. Gladly do I rejoice in the virtue that relieves the misery of all those in unfortunate states and that gives happiness to the suffering. I rejoice in the gathering of virtue, that is the cause for their heart's awakening. I rejoice in the definite freedom and from the miseries of cyclic existence. I rejoice in the awakening of the Buddhas and also in the spiritual levels of children. And with gladness I rejoice in the ocean of virtues for developing an awakening mind that wishes all beings to be happy, as well as in the deeds that brings them benefit. With folded hands I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the lamp of Dharma for all bewildered in misery's gloom. With folded hands I beseech the conquerors who wish to pass away to please remain for countless eons and not to leave the world in darkness. Thus, by the virtue collected through all that I have done, may the pains of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be doctor, the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world, until everyone is healed. May a rain of food and drink descend to clear away the pains of thirst and hunger, and during the eons of famine, may I become food and drink. May I become an inexhaustible treasure for those who are poor and destitute. May I turn into all things they could need and be placed close beside them. Without any sense of loss, I shall give up my body and enjoyments, as well as all my virtues of the three times, for the sake of benefiting all. By giving up all, sorrow is transcended, and my mind will realize the sorrowless state. It is best that I now give everything to all beings in the same way as I shall at death, having given this body for the pleasure of all living beings by killing, abusing, and beating it. May their will be do as we please. although they may play with my body and make it a source of jest and reproach, because I have given it up to them, what is the use of holding it dear? Therefore I shall
let them
do anything to do.
that does not cause them any harm.
And
And when
when
anyone
anyone
encounters me,
may it never be meaningless for them. If in those who encounters me, a faithful or angry thought arises, may that eternally become the source for fulfilling all their wishes. May all who say bad things to me or cause me any harm, and those who mock and insult me have the fortune to fully awaken.
May I be a protector for those without one, a guide for all travelers on the way.
May I be a bridge, a boat, and a ship for all who wish to cross the water. May I be an island for those who seek one,
and a lamp for those desiring light.
May I be a bed for all who wish to rest,
and a slave for all who want a slave. May I be a wishing jewel, a magic vase, powerful mantras, and great medicine. May I become a wish-fulfilling tree, and a cow of plenty for the world. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the lives of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all your beings to reach unto the ends of space.
This one. What
Yes.
is it?
So up to verse 22.
Oh.
Please.
탐전 예수 시양 쇼 사티체. Now the two shlokas, two verses. Is actually the take the pledge. So usually we
Usually we take the pledge by sitting crouched.
But those people who feel comfortable, then do
Please
it.
crouch.
If not comfortable, then okay, just like that. Remain like that.
So if you're comfortable, please crouch.
Now remember Buddha and these masters. Now, because of the reasons already mentioned, so now, since we have this precious sort of human brain, this brain, you see, can produce such an infinite altruism with help of wisdom. Without wisdom, without human intelligence, you can't develop this kind of determination. So it's my life, my birth as a human being, and also this is Nangikyen.
This is truly the inner jewel or jewelry,
Nangikyen.
internal condition, for example.
Then external sort of condition, you see, we met using this kind of sort of advice. And these advice, not just as a propaganda, but those masters, eons, they themselves practice. As a result, they got immense sort of benefit. So from their own experience, now telling their disciples. So now made pledge 3 times. Read.
From
Again
verse
read.
23 on page 22.
2 verses 3 times.
Yes. Just as the previous Sugatas gave birth to an awakening mind, and just as they successively dwelt in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise, for the sake of all that lives, do I give birth to an awakening mind, and likewise shall I too successively follow these practices. Just as the previous Sugatas gave birth to an awakening mind, and just as they successively dwelt in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise, for the sake of all that lives, do I give birth to an awakening mind, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the practices. Just as the previous Sugatas gave birth to an awakening mind, and just as they successively dwelt in Bodhisattva practices, likewise, for the sake of all that lives, do I give birth to an awakening mind, and likewise shall I too successfully follow the practices.
Okay, now sit. Now remaining this chapter, read,
Please read the remaining part of this
and
chapter.
develop some kind of kasota,
Determination.
rejoice, right?
Rejoicing.
Rejoicing.
25 down.
In order to further increase it from now on, those with discernment who have illicitly seized an awakening mind in this way should highly praise it in the following manner. Today my life has borne fruits. Having well obtained this human existence, I've been born in the family of Buddha, and now am one of the Buddha's children. Thus, whatever actions I do from now on must be in accord with the family. Never shall I disgrace or pollute this noble and unsullied race. Just like a blind man discovering a jewel in a heap of rubbish, likewise by some coincidence an awakening mind has been born within me. It is the supreme ambrosia that overcomes the sovereignty of death. It is the inexhaustible treasure that eliminates all poverty in the world. It is the supreme medicine that quells the world's disease. It is a tree that shelters all beings, wandering and tired on the path of conditioned existence. It is the universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth. It is the dawning moon of the mind that dispels the torment of disturbing conceptions. It is the great sun that finally removes the misty ignorance of the world. It is the quintessential butter from the churning of the milk of Dharma. For all those guests traveling on the path of conditioned existence who wish to experience the bounties of happiness, this will satisfy them with joy and actually place them in supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all the protectors, I invite the world to be guests at a festival of temporary and ultimate delight. May gods, demigods, and all be joyful.
Thank you. So now, as I mentioned before, in a daily basis, when you feel sort of fresh and enthusiastic, then you should read this as a part of daily prayer. Okay, and also it reminds our
Commitment,
pledge, our practice like that. So, of course, in my daily sort of meditation, asade kasoda, reinforce the altruism. That's I always do, and with some real sort of kasoda emotion, very strong emotion. It's very useful, very useful. So, but that's a major part. Now, Tantrayana. So I think in order to practice Tantrayana, first I think we have to, we should go to the doctors, to surgery. Here, third eye put. then let us, because of practice of Tantrayana. If we carry surgery here, then I think even normal two eyes may damage. So now, what is Tantrayana? Tantrayana means is a mantra. Of course, we do not know Sanskrit properly, but you see, something like mana, mind, traya, something, protection. So here, protection means our consciousness, contact with external things, usually, you see, it appears independent, absolute appearance. Then, because of our ignorance, we still believe, there is independent existence. So therefore, or attachment, or anger, jealousy, all these negative things, you see, happen. So now, protection means in mental level, for I think mental level, they dissolve these object, and then the way dissolution these object, not just think nothingness, no. These object, what is their ultimate reality? Focusing, penetrate, then you can't find. So final answer of mere designation. So we never get the feeling, just mere designation. So therefore, through sort of practice of that meditation, penetrate ultimate reality. With help of that kind of sort of experience, then you see these appearances automatically disappear. Then that very wisdom of mind which understand emptiness, that mind itself then purposely transform with the physical way.
Into physicality.
So firstly, ourself. This body, which the basis of the development of attachment, anger, all these, this body penetrate. What is this body? What's I? We can't find. Then on that, because of the mind, with sort of the develop, with turn that kind of wisdom, these all impure object no longer appears. Then that wisdom or that mind deliberately transform or create new figure. No, number social.
So this wisdom realizing the ultimate reality, ultimate truth of oneself and one's body, so this very wisdom then takes the form of a deity. So here, the true nature of that is the very wisdom, the wisdom which realizes the ultimate reality of oneself, and the aspect that it takes, or the form that it transforms into, is that of the deities. So here, because you have the aspect of the deity form, you are being protected from having the appearance of ordinariness. Because you have the appearance, now you have the appearance of a deity. It has already transcended the ordinary appearance. So you are protected from having ordinary appearance.
So this actually, again, Guhi Samansa. It's a Guhi Samansa Tantra. It's a very detailed explanation. According to the Mahanuttara Yoga Tantra, the mind also not this present grosser level mind, not this one. While you thinking or penetrate about ultimate reality, the grosser level of mind also dissolving. This moment, of course, just a visualization, because imagination. Imagination. They dissolve 8 stages. Then finally, 4 emptiness. The first emptiness, second emptiness, that means eye consciousness, all the sensual consciousness completely sort of cease. And mental level also, the 80 divisions yesterday I mentioned, this also dissolve. Then only remaining 4 emptiness. Within the 4 emptiness, the first emptiness dissolved to second, third. The 4th emptiness, that's the innermost subtle clear light. That clear light ultimately become Buddha's mind. All these grosser level mind never go that way. All diluted.
Yes.
And actually, in a way, it also acting like basis of these destructive emotion. So once these grosser level of mind completely dissolve, then the very basis of these destructive emotion no longer there. So usually you see when we die, that actually experience. But then again you should come back. Go, come back, go, come back, that way. So through yoga, through practice, then of course up to till Buddhahood, these gross level mind again come during meditation, dissolve. But then after that, again you should come, go like that. So that very clear light, very subtle, the innermost subtle clear light mind, always go with energy. Gross level of mind also, you see, moving. That is sort of part of moving sort of ability.
Yes.
That's energy. So awareness, energy go together. Now, in the most subtle level also, although in normally who do not have that sort of training, then when the fourth empty mind occur, just done.
It's like blank.
But through training, then you see, it can can be wisdom.
Utilized. No, it can be transformed into a wisdom form.
So the energy, innermost subtle energy. Now, once you see all the grosser level of energy and grosser level of awareness of mind completely stop, then these two things, clear light mind and subtle energy, these these produce or transform. Buddha's Rupakaya, or physical,
Physical or form body of the Buddha,
and Dhammakaya.
and the Buddha's truth body of the Buddha.
So because the substance itself is modular doblecho.
So because on the causal level, substantial cause level, the subtle energy and the subtle clear light mind, these two are nominally distinct, but in terms of entity, it's the same. Entity-wise same, nominally distinct.
So the body which comes from that, also now Buddha's body, speech, mind is one entity.
So these three assume same entity or nature, and inseparable.
So good to sungdu jugosal.
It is for this reason that the bodies, the Buddha's body and the mind, these are taken as of the union, the nature in the form of union, inseparability.
So that's the way, that's the system. So the meaning, protection of mind from impure kasota, firstly from impure object. Then eventually all the impure mind itself
Stops.
stops or project from
Protected.
all these
Yes. Impure minds.
impure, diluted minds.
Diluted minds. Yes.
Like that. So now, in order to practice Tantrayana, firstly, we need some sort of understanding about Shunya. Without that, impossible practice of Tantrayana. So I have to examine each one. Then those people who sort of understanding about Shunya is zero, then must dismiss. And hopefully I maybe can sit. Otherwise it's very difficult, isn't it? But I think this moment, those people who really genuine interest about Shunya and enthusiasm to practice, to study that and to practice that, then okay. no problem. So then, again, the understanding of shunya alone, no guarantee to bring Buddhahood. So there are other sort of supporter, immense sort of forceful support. That is Bodhicitta, altruism, infinite altruism. The wisdom which understands shunya and supported by infinite altruism, then that wisdom become very powerful, can eliminate the Shantideva.
Yes. Can eliminate the cognitive obscuration as well.
셰돈이도 따와 대상 건배 니난 짐버드 매버쳐요디 니난데 대대가.
Yes. So otherwise, if this wisdom, which realizes the ultimate reality, if that is not complemented, if that is not backed by a very powerful mind of infinite compassion or altruism, then this wisdom, at the most, it can eliminate the wrong mode of grasping at things to be existing truly. However, the appearance of, the true appearance of things existing objectively cannot be eliminated.
So that's the system of the Tantrayana, or Buddhist Tantrayana. Of course, the Hindu Tantrayana also there, and also the different yoga practice is common. Buddhism and non-Buddhism is common. 냐면 어디 계시면서 아다 무디게 품젠데 또 돈데 관심도 시 품젠데 지 포에미바 종주의 투모를 없어 지금다 나루추루난 게 나루추루난 게 포 종주 투모 이 무디고 투모래도 무디고 상하래도 와.
So
one time I met one the Gorakhpur, one Hindu Tantrist,
Tantric practitioner.
I had some discussion. So some of these practices common. So the distinction, the shunya, anatma theory. All their practice based on atma theory, like that.
So these, the common practices are such as what is known as holding the breath, vast breath, and also projecting the mind out of the body and also transferring it into another body, and then also that of the inner heat, tumo practice.
But tea break, when? 10:30 or, okay. Yeah. So now deity yoga is the basis or the basis mata 토매직다 가다 멍시다 가다 디차시. 이게 안다 구투 송주 영야 다디 심을 지 안다네 동리도에 손놈 할샤요 부축권니 대다 아니 가서 류마 예수 모임이 매력거네 다 동리도에 손놈 할샤와 직체 다디 거 동리도에 시바 코라 다 혁은나발 샷대버지 뭐네 샤르 말때 매체 용도 명올라 모임이 자소.
So this deity, or receiving the empowerment on this deity, tantric deity, is like laying the ground to eventually achieve the inseparability of the Buddha's body and this body and the mind. So how do we go about doing that? Is that at this stage, we first of all try to arise oneself in the aspect of deity, in the divine form, through this wisdom, realizing the ultimate nature of oneself and one's mind, one's body. And then, although we cannot do it in real sense, but we, on the imagination level, we try to arise ourselves in the form of the deity, whose substantial cause is the wisdom which realizes the ultimate reality. So here, although it is not in real terms, but on the imagination level, we see that there's non-duality or the inseparability of the body that we arise into, and the mind, the mind which is the wisdom which realizes emptiness, this mind arising in the form of the divine body of the deity. So there's inseparability even on the imagination level, although it is just the imagination level, not real, but there is something there, inseparably of the body and the mind.
Yeah. So now, in Tantrayana, in Buddhist Tantrayana, there are 4 groups. According to the 4 or 6 groups. According to Dzogchen, Nyingma, Tiya Upa Yoga, Ma Anu Ati. 6 groups. According to Shekyu Dojo Kuru,
Yes. Vajratent Tantra, commentarial Tantra.
I think one was one Tantra of Hebanza. There are, according to that, 4 groups. Tiya, Upa, Yoga, Mahanutara. So basically, the meaning is same. According here, Dzogchen, then Mahanutara Yoga divided 3. Samyanali, Pokyu, Mokyu, Nimi, Sesungdwa.
And in the new translation tantric system, there is the division into 3: the father lineage, mother lineage, and the non-dual lineage.
So now, all 4 or lower sort of Tantrayana, although not explain the subtle level, but actually, you see, these tantrics, the lower Tantrayana system, you see, happen in order to achieve that. So this way. So now this, I think, now this belongs to Nyingma tradition. In Nyingma, Nyingma Kama, Dharma, Thanas, Sumchigyari.
In the Nyingma tradition, there's a division of 3 in terms of the Dharma. There's first the karma, which is the
Dharma Mata, the tantric teaching.
Tantric teaching. There's the karma, which is the words of the Buddha, and then dharma.
Actually translate from India.
Translations from Sanskrit into Tibetan, and then there's the Dharma tradition, which is the revealed treasure, the hidden treasures which are discovered later.
Those great yogi, you see, even you see my generation, some reliable sort of practitioner, when they remain deep meditation, then something like memory about past, many centuries ago sort of memory. And then, you see, the composed sort of text automatically come in their mind. One quite strange one is the one in Kham, I think the previous generation. The yogi himself cannot write. Illiterate.
No.
But you see, because of he met some guru and get some teaching, so his practice is good. So when you see he meditate and deeper consciousness, now these deeper grosser level of consciousness, a little bit dissolve, and the deeper one become active. Then you see the deeper sort of consciousness direct link with the limitless past life. Grosser level mind, new organ, new brain develop. So unless you develop some sort of practice of samadhi, strong samadhi, otherwise it's difficult to come memory in grosser level of mind. So subtle level of mind, much easier. So you see, that person, a normal way, he even cannot write. But when he is meditate and deeper consciousness experience, then the memory about many past lives, sort of his knowledge, then you see, very good verses automatically come. Quite strange, isn't it? Like that. That happened. So that is dharma. And then also is some writing, some text during 8th century, Brahmasambhava there, he deliberately, you see, they buried.
No, hid.
Hid in rock. It's a very solid rock. So those sort of the qualified sort of the practitioner, and then through their some certain sort of deeper experience, then they pinpoint where is it that text remain. Then deep meditation. Then there's one story. I think the beginning of 20th century or later part of 19th century, Khenze Wombu, Chogyulimba. 공주 인도자조. 공주 인도자조. These three. So Chogyulimba, although all three used to have that kind of visions or that kind of ability, but apparently the Chogyulimba is more active. So one day, you see, he want to take the text from deep sea, deep lake in Tibet. He is during meditation, he just walk on the water, and then at the place he
Sunk.
Oh, sunk.
Sunk himself.
Dipped.
No, he dived in.
Then take this text like that. It happened. So I think we have to request some of those people who have some miracle power, please demonstrate that kind of sort of practice. I remember one time, I think 40 years ago, one time one newspaper, Indian newspaper, mentioned one sadhu want to demonstrate the ability to live on water without singing. So he announced and sell some ticket. Then you see the organizer actually made one big tub, chulus, and then filled water. Then actual demonstration come, that sadhu sank. But he already sold ticket. So such things also happen. So that is second category. Then third category is simply vision in deep meditation. Then you see Buddha or the different sort of deities and things like that. So 5th Dalai Lama is experience, as I mentioned yesterday. English name kasuri. What is the English name? One American, now Tibetan nun.
Cherry.
Cherry. Her Tibetan name Tibetan children, we together carrying some sort of work or new book about Theravada system and Sanskrit system.
Comparative studies.
Comparative. So not yet finished. So for that work, she visited, that nun visited Thailand and I think some other Theravada country. So she told me, and even with picture, one Thai, very great sort of bhikshu, actually had vision, Buddha, and surrounded like Shariputra, Mongol, and Kashyapa, these Arahat. So he actually just saw and get blessing. So since then, that is a bhikshu, then sort of believe Buddha's spirit still live, still alive. So according to Vibhasik sort of the school of thought, Buddha no longer there. After Mahaparinirvana, and then it's in Buddha's mind no longer there. So after he actually experienced that, so then he accepted or he believed is Buddha still, Buddha's spirit or Buddha's being still there. So all to that I think a monk already, that great monk, bhikshu already because of the past day, his student, one younger one, also then believe Buddha and different manifestation of Buddha. So he went to China and pilgrim, and say the picture which she showed me, you see that monk is praying, and then white light directly on his sort of head, something, and she mentioned there is Avalokiteshvara statue. That monk is praying. During that praying, white light actually come. So they actually take picture. I saw the picture. So such strange things happen. And also yesterday I mentioned like that. So therefore, and then 13th Dalai Lama also, when he was very young, he also got different sort of visions and certain sort of advice got during that vision. He actually mentioned at that time one of his entourage, the caretaker, one official. He actually should write down. I saw some of these verses like that. So perhaps these Tibetan come from Central Tibet. So maybe some genetic way, little bit
Genes.
difference of genes, right?
No.
I come from very far, so lacking that kind of genetic. So I never have that kind of sort of experience. Ini gara-gara samsu harta goslo na. Samsu. Susu samsu.
No, how I comfort myself, console myself.
Not necessarily these visions, but the Buddha's own sort of teaching available in Tibetan language, and particularly Nagarjuna sort of text there. So I can read, I can study, I can meditate, and as a result, some experience here. So okay, not necessarily visions. So I think you too. I think these texts available. If you make effort, and these are available. And inner potential also same, like that. I think tea. Ram yang kan Oma 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 Ahum Oma 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 Ahum Oma Garsada Vadin Mina Oma Beso Oma Garsada 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 Oma Beso Ha Oma Zon Bine Agar Khayan Za Oma Bine Nama Zon Daga Dama Ima Zon Dama Gana Ima Gana Kam Gyana Bajin Za Oma Bine Nama Zon Daga Dama Ima Zon Dama Gana Ima Gana Kam Gyana Bajin Za Oma Bine Nama Zon Daga Dama Ima Zon Dama Gana Ima Gana Kam Gyana Bajin Dai So Ha Yada Sanwe Jingon Diren Duwe Lana Mato Mida Mimi Jumbu So Diru Madu Shen Do Dengen Chidi Midun Du Ujo Nama Taja Jebe Du Lolo On Sakoda Hayangawa Ulu Ulu On Be On Be Sakoda Hayangawa Ulu On Nujin Du Uza Daya On Be Nujin Du Daya On Suba Di Suba Hong Gyana Gyana Be Gyana Be Umana Bhagavan Biya Ranga Hong Meranzo Hong Be She Wanga Tage Wanga Tage Rub Sarishima Holo Jimmy Wong Then Chanza Me Tamba Sume Kurgan Shamburu Juro On Beza Zaran Zolaram Hong Jum Hong So in Tantrayana, in this instrument, Banjra, Gandra, this symbolize the method, this symbolize wisdom. Now here in this case, this symbolize shunya, this symbolize the subtle mind. So subtle mind fully understand or absorb shunya. So the reason in tantric practice, Banjra and Gandra should keep, because this reminds these inner Banjra and Gandra. So in Japanese, the Mikyo, the tantric practitioner, they also used to use this. And according Yoga Tantra, there's a variety of
Spokes.
Variety of Banjra and Gandra. So one
Yes. With a single spoke Vajra.
And 3 or 5, 9, like that. So these are common sort of practice. I think in Chinese tradition also, I think as well, those tantric practitioners. You belong to Zen, isn't it? Zen, or you belong Zen?
I left, but I was in Tentai. Tentai and Nichiren.
Tentai.
And then
Right. So like that. So now, in order to give the blessing, firstly, the person who perform these must visualize. I must make proper preparation. That is, meditate on shunya with altruism, and then that wisdom, as I mentioned earlier, transform a deity body. So this moment, I visualize on our Lokuteshvara, they form 2 hands, not 4 hands. 2 hands, like right hand, which remains this, left hand remain on seat,
Seat,
like that. White color, like that. The Chandi Simni Nyalso Sachi.
So the name of this Avalokiteshvara is Semnyi Nyalso,
Mare, that's Jordan.
which could translate as the comforting and relaxing Chandrisik.
Like that.
Now,
So now, Shidarada Mazanjini, Hanajan, Haishna, Shinda, almost all the Nanga, every good is Samajira, almost all the Nanga, every good is Samajira, almost all the Nanga, every good is Samajira, almost all the Nanga, every good is Samayashira, Samayashira, Chuni Jungs, Kekte Divche, the offering mandala. Sashi, Junction Meadow, Dom, the Yabandi, Sanjay Shindu, Medico, Rugunamda Shingla Chabrajo, Edom Guru, Rana Mandala, Daya, me only Changa Chimbe Diane, Simjetung, Taye, Gabashawa, Samyaso, Children Zaji, Shuguro, Jay. Oh, yeah. Daniel saw the way.
first we follow the supplication.
Now these deities, there are two kinds. One, a manifestation of Buddha. So in that case, the one being, Buddha manifest different sort of form of deities. Another kind, like we individual, through meditation of our Lokiteshvara, then eventually become Buddha. And that individual our Lokiteshvara, not Buddha's manifestation. Clear? So then this, the purpose of this manifestation of Buddha, when Buddha teach, you see, when he teach those people who cannot practice Tantrayana, or only as because of the self-liberation, then Buddha taught these mainly the Vinaya level with monks experience, with monk, human being. Then those people who have the ability to see different form of Buddha, then like Rajagiri, you see, he taught Pranjaparamita Sutra among the audience or among the listener, not only human being, but also different, actually sort of different deities. Like the Heart Sutra, or Lokiteshvara, appears as a questioner, and question to Buddha, and Buddha make answer. Sometimes our Lokiteshvara himself, and sometimes you see the discussion between Kashyapa-ji and our Lokiteshvara, like that. So these, for example, at that time, some ordinary person visit there, he can't see. But only those people who have some sort of special karmic sort of link, like that. That's one level. So in this case, Buddha, you see, the Buddha himself is surrounded by a different sort of form of sentient being, including deities and these things. Then those people who have the ability and also mental disposition, or who can visualize himself or herself as sort of Buddha or as deity, and because of the condition of these practices there, then Buddha appears according their mental disposition and also their physical, as I mentioned earlier, genes were different genes were. So to some people, a wrathful deity more so suitable. Some people, peaceful deity suitable. To some people, like this kind of today, one face, 4 hand suitable. To some people, just like it's a 2 hand, or some cases 1,000 hand, like that. These appearance, you see, automatically come, spontaneously come. Something like Buddha's side, eons he determined to service sentient being, and as I mentioned yesterday, to dedicate his own body, speech, and mind to other. So after become Buddha, so because of that sort of powerful wish, and the energy, the subtle energy, once manifest, anything can be because of that.
Possible.
Because of that. Appears in any form, without effort, effortless. So, Buddha side, that kind of ability or facilities. Then the audience side, some sort of virtues sort of there. Then automatically these different mandalas appear, automatically come, spontaneously. And then they form also, according to their suitability, it automatically comes. So that's why there are so many different mental dispositions, mental physical conditions. So there are thousands of different deities. That does not mean deities or place, or they remain quite crowdly. In that case, sometimes a little bit jealousy among them. These are not that case. Wherever practitioner there, and according his or her sort of mental disposition or condition, then automatically appears as a different form of mandala. So now our then you see manifestation from Buddha, the different Buddha's quality, the special quality about wisdom appears Manjushri. Generally, we believe because of that, it considered like that. Then Buddha's compassion appears this Avalokiteshvara. Buddha's energy appears Tara or the Bansapani, like that. So according to Chinese tradition, you see the 8 deity Bodhisattvas, Samantabhadra, and Maitreya Bodhisattva, and Manjushri Bodhisattva, and Kare. Chivanam Sukare, Chilsi?
Sarva Nivarana Vishta. Sarva Nivarana.
Oh. So like that.
Vishkambini.
Oh. So we need, you see, to know the background. Otherwise, you see, some people you see, get the feeling, get the impression, Tibetan Buddhists, you see, no idea of creator, but at the same time, so many Buddhas, so many deities like that. And I think, you see, in history, in India, I think after Buddha come, that there are so many different people, so the appearance of different sort of deities will automatically come. Then the guru, his or her own sort of disciple, then usually prefer to follow guru's sort of practice. So then eventually, you see, these different deities actually appear to one particular person, but then eventually, you see, that becomes something because of that.
Tradition, traditional lineage.
Yeah, something like public then, I think, like that. So Avalokiteshvara, like that. So Avalokiteshvara, here the Sungwonju Jayasi, Simning Su Chinlonam, Tirin said, so that Simning Su Chinlonarana, that
So the supplication verse you're going to follow is that it says, "O Lord of speech of all the Tathagatas, O gender 6, resting in the mind, nature of the mind, or something else, please bestow us your blessing today." So you're going to
now repeat after me.
repeat this 3 times, please.
Ho Devarashekwa Tamjeki,
Ho Devarashekwa Tamjeki,
Sungwonju Jayasi,
Sungwonju Jayasi,
Simning Su Chinlonam,
Sungye Su Chinlabnam,
Tirin Dala Zedu,
Tirin Dala Zedu,
Tirin Dala Zedu,
Tirin Dala Zedu,
Tirin Dala Zedu.
Tirin Dala Zedu.
Then the pledge of Bodhisattva. So now, you already done that. So I think one simpler one. That's not our Kunjosum Kyosu to Inse, Mundaji, the bottom is Sososha, Dragon Chayang, Sanjin Yuji Song stage letter.
So the verse that you're going to repeat goes like this. I go for refuge to the 3 jewels. I confess individually all my negativities. I rejoice in the merit of migrating beings. I take hold with my mind the perfect state of a Buddha.
Yeah. So, repeat after me.
Please repeat.
And determine to make pledge, some kind of desire or wish to achieve Buddha in order to serve infinite sentient being till space remain like that, till end of sentient being. Of course, that is impossible, but many Bodhisattvas sort of prayer or pledge, sometimes it is impossible, but so much sort of because of that determination. These are very, very helpful, like that. Kunjo sumla dagyabche, Dikwa tamja sosorsha, Draya gela jayirang, Sanje changju yiji sung, Kunjo sumla dagyabche, Dikwa tamja sosorsha, Draya gela jayirang, Sanje changju yiji sung, Kunjo sumla dagyabche, Dikwa tamja sosorsha, Draya gela jayirang, Sanje changju yiji sung. If possible, of course, receive Bodhisattva's vow. That's not simple. Once we take Bodhisattva vow, then 18
root infractions,
main
infractions, downfalls. 8 major downfalls we have to refrain from, and also refrain from 46 minor downfalls.
So we need fuller knowledge about that, and need determination to keep these things. Otherwise, this is just take Bodhisattva vow, not much meaning, like that. So I think this simply is determination. That's okay. That's sufficient. Give some chance. Now, those people, now this is now the time or stage, the audience, now visualize deity. However, those people who already have some initiations, right? Initiations received, like Avalokiteshvara initiation or Kala Chakra or these initiation. And then you can visualize yourself as a deity. But then those people who haven't sort of received any initiation, then you can't visualize yourself as a deity, but visualize deity on Gogan.
On your crown.
Yeah. Nam pölye min gomar chigi chach gomar chavre. And ko samdan pam drasta shot wi chavre. Chilad.
There was a story which goes that there was a bold person in Tibet who meditated on his crown deity, but every time he was meditating on the deity slips down his head.
So Rajim Barotra, I think there is danger. Whenever visualizes Buddha or the Avalokita, then has fell down because of too smooth. So now, I think both case now visualize about shunya, think about shunya. Now you already is determined that altruism already. Now with that feeling, now think or investigate, where's I? But when we investigate, it is because of the big different, then we usually appear I is something there. So when we investigate that appearance now, they automatically because of the vague
Fades away.
Fades away. So now think about I. Then also think about mind. So finally you can't find. So then if we deny that existence of I or mind, that nihilism. So I is there. It causing some good, causing some different result, and also experiencing different result. So I is there, mind is there. Then the answer about the nature of the body and mind is simply designated. Therefore, the very nature of the I and mind is dependent on other factor. Its existence entirely depends on other factor, not by itself. So that means interdependent. And dependent and meantime is fact. So arising. Clear. So then we can find because of the contrast. Appearance that
So here we see a big contrast between how things appear to a mind and the reality of things, how things really exist.
Then you simply think now I and mind as appears that totally do not exist. So during that moment, mind had the feeling of something just empty. 다양한데 lot dübe empty membership. 그라 제바 제벤 데불라 제든디 메링이다.
So there could be there are two possibilities of viewing things as of the nature of emptiness. One is very naive understanding, which thinks that there's nothing really existing there. So this should not be the what you are to understand here in this context. Here, the understanding of the emptiness comes through critical analysis as to where things exist objectively, just as they appear. And then when you see that the way things appear truly don't reflect the reality, that things don't exist objectively or independently, so then you see that the independent existence of the object dissolves or it disappears. There is an experience of vacuity or the emptiness here. So this is the kind of the emptiness to be understood in this context.
So, now meditate on it. 세상 고물로 자셔는 손셔야지. 땡진데 원래 중앙 거 되는 동건이도 셔. 되는 때는 다고 되는 의미라미노스. 단지
So it is for this reason that Aranagarjuna, in his Mula Madhyamaka Karika, he said that whatever is dependently originated is of the nature of emptiness, so which in turn indicates things existing by means of imputation. This is the middle way.
좀 전에 또 너나래 컨시 깨는 게 대마게 될 깨외는 시 예만이.
The Buddha also, in the sutra, he said that whatever arises by dependence on conditions is having the emptiness nature of intrinsic production, so which lacks inherent production.
양 도지gnal이야. 다저샤와 뒤기 셈스. 다 스전 시부직벽에 문진 깨야 시르부직 삼다디. 아니 뒤기 셈스. 다저샤와 뒤기 셈. 되는 따올 줄과 인스다. 차당 다 따온 게 맞아서 참을로 다 오래다 직접 타다로 속고 드주제 따와다. 대다든 제외. 아니 녀몬디 참을로 될 때는 기게 알레스. 이 쇼데 두지 풍부 뒷땅데스. 두지 풍부 때 왕줄겐 게다 요마레스. 두지 풍부래 술도 다 요마레스. 두지 풍부 나네 다니야 요마레스. 다와나 아니 다스 컨디션스로나 지든 야나创나라 때는 신도 제바다 대신 풍부 남 때네 군소스면 제바인스.
And the Buddha, on some other occasion, he also said that viewing the self to be intrinsically real is a mind of a devil. It is the mind which originates and which gives rise to all other deluded and defiled views grasping at the perishable aggregates, views grasping at the extremes and so forth, and which in turn give rise to all other afflicted emotions. So if you analyze as to how the self truly exists, whether it exists the way this self-grasping mind views the self to exist, or it exists in some other ways, then through such analysis we see that this self is not findable among the aggregates, among the aggregates of the body and the mind, nor that is found as distinct from these aggregates. Then the question is, if the self is not pointable or findable among the aggregates or as distinct from these aggregates, how does it exist then? Then again the Buddha said that just as a chariot is designated on the basis of the different parts of the chariot, the self also
combination
designated on the basis of the combination of the parts of the chariot. Likewise, the self as well is designated on the combination of the different psychophysical complex.
So now, that very that mind or wisdom which understand shunya, those people who already experienced initiation, then that very mind transform our Shora. And then those people who haven't received initiation, then on the top of your head, you see, firstly, C, letter C. That, actually, that wisdom appears now, transform or letter Shi, syllable.
No, syllable.
Syllable Shi. Now that transform Avalokiteshvara. So, what kind of Avalokiteshvara? White color, one face, two hands, one hand remain like this, one hand remain like this, and very, very peaceful, very compassionate, and from that body, infinite light come, and that all space is that light cover.
Pervade.
That light is it was say from the light different sort of different phenomena appears, then you see according different sort of sentient being. Now for example, those sentient being who really suffer heat, then that light gives cold. And those hungry, that light is provide because of that
Food. Provide food.
becomes rare. Food like that. That kind of the visualization. So actually, this moment simply visualization or imagination. But this is our preparation, the fulfillment of our sort of pledge, like that. So visualize that, and then that our Lokiteshvara sort of head here, Om, white Om, here red A, here blue Hung, with Shi, white Shi. That I think in front, Hung, just behind Shi. That's okay. Now, blessing Gu Sun Tu Yuan Den Page Chile Yidrisha.
So the blessings you're going to receive of Avalokiteshvara consist of blessing of the body, speech, mind, then enlightened qualities and enlightened activities.
Munju tele Nisha, Munja, Chile tele Nisha, Shige, Shige Nida, any Wang the Tapuni.
So with regards to the enlightened activities, we can divide it into two. The first one consists of the peaceful and the extensive activities, and then the second one consists of the wrathful and the powerful activities.
Yeah. Oh, that's sure. So, who's the ross? You know, sure, yeah, sure. Ka, on the they, as Guru, sort of what's the visualize the deity, Avalokiteshvara, and also in the front also is visualize the same sort of deity. So now both from Guru's head as well as the Dunji Khasana.
The front generated deities forehead.
From both so as the head,
Forehead.
one
Race.
Om,
Ray.
white Om and white rays used to come. In Dagnasingi, Genesis Ku, and Carpenter Pato Chundi, and Lomanam Jar Tim Sapasha.
And also imagine innumerable numbers of the Chandrasik, the form of Chandrasik comes forth to you and dissolves into you.
She jumped in singing as we could job Baravachology, Luigi Table, Gundan, Kui Kone, Chingy, Law, Omani Beme, Kaya, I think his Om Omani beme honkaya ebekezo, omani beme honkaya ebekezo, omani beme honkaya ebekezo, omani beme honkaya ebekezo, omani beme honkaya ebekezo hon. Then they both the deities throat from throat the red are and also the red light and also the because of the infinite sort of Avalokiteshvara red color come and dissolve your throat. Any chance sungushin also samachya.
And then imagine that you have received the blessing of the speech of Chandrasekhar.
Namju Manilia, you to bus charity, on money payment homes, no, you get truth chair. That she, seven the Namna, you get doing charity, on money payment home she.
So generally, we call the mantra of Avalokiteshvara the 6-syllable mantra, which consists of the syllables Om, Mani, Padme, Hum. And so this is the 6-syllable mantra. But on top of that, if you add the seed syllable of Avalokiteshvara, which is the syllable 3, then the mantra becomes 7-syllabled mantra.
Jamden Simning as we Sungsho Barwe Chenlevji, Nag Tribo, Gundane, Nag Kwane, Chinji, Law, Omani Beme, Waga Ebekeza, Omani Beme, Waga Ebekeza, Omani Beme, Waga Ebekeza, And similar way, both deities from heart, blue hum, and also blue because of the light, and then also the Avalokiteshvara's because of the form, blue color come and dissolve your heart. She 좀더 심리에 소위 투조 말에 전로기 투기 아주 진럽기 투기 접어 네 당한 심기 접어 군다네 투기 권에 진기로 엄마네 배면 엄마네 배면 어디 신리님도 신리 대인배 장생님 것이야 단지샤 엄마네 배면 홍 지다 에비케서 홍 지다 에비케서 엄제 다되네 다시 되다 대화 인설해 from navel survey.
Navel.
Navel.
Navel of the deity.
Actually, what letter I don't know. but then no problem. You see, some light is to come from there and dissolve or light and also the Jyoti. Kasa. No. Avalokiteshvara form, the this one. Now green color. Yellow color, and dissolve your navel and the yende. Under the gombore kare. Under the gombore kare. I don't gombore. But that did it. So the yellow and also the form of rosary, form of text come and dissolve. And yandeng chinlo dang and chile shige chile nibutigi mutu topsu sapacha.
And so, with the dissolution of the scripture and the rosary, you imagine that you have received the blessings of the enlightened qualities, and also in terms of the enlightened activities, the first two, which is the peaceful and the extensive activities, enlightened activities, blessings are received.
Now this rosary and text, say, put in the left hand. 좀 전 심령에서 이 레범 신딩 뒤때에 발제 인다. 그래. 왜? 오늘 뒤때에 천년 로 점바이 연된 틀린 로버 쇼 엄마니 배면 군나 karma 에비케자 홍 군나 karma 에비케자 홍 엄마니 배면 군나 배면 guna karma evikeza om mani bema guna karma evikeza om that then now the what Lama
The disciples.
Disciples now those people who visualize yourself as our Lukutishara, now our Lukutishara transform now wrathful form, Hayankirwa. Yeah. Then those people who just visualize our Lukutishara on head, that our Lukutishara now transform the wrathful sort of form, that's Hayankirwa. Hayankirwa, one face, two hand, this hand, Wangan dog jen, dorji purpuzimba. So that seems, I think, not very clear. Seems one banzara, one kilaya. They dodge, they purba.
So in the right hand, imagine those of you who are imagining yourself as Hayagriva. In the right hand, imagine you are holding a golden vajra, and in the left hand, holding the kila.
Purba, like that.
Vajra kila.
So, Romano singing so nine good day, Dungeon, or Darando, Dungeon, yeah, Dorji, you Purban Zimber, yes. She Dini Tava Zamjang, Gagdon London, Jumbukun, Tawa Dudo Langjure, Munjun, Drube, Dendo, Jin, Omani Beme Hong Shi, Gilaya Eve Keza Hong. Labayel, right hand, touch right hand. Then Toma and the Tendin to get it. Toma Tendin to get it, that day, and go out to Shadi, and the Troyachin in that.
So now you're going to receive the blessing of the wrathful deity by, which is received by touching this torma, which is in turn generated into that of
First, I think
Hayagriva.
you should look this Hayagriva, wrathful form of our Lukutishara. 도만 고샤 시 초게보 왕진해 구송 투기 진로남 바주 메준 꾼 시신 무주 멀루 자원즈我是不是做的韩国路？我是不是做的韩国路？我是不是做的韩国路？我是不是做的韩国路？我是不是做的韩国路？我是不是做的韩国路？我是不是做的韩国路？我是不是做的韩国路？是不是做的韩国路？路红白，我们那边的红是하얀 길과 에비케서红，哦呀，对，他们去烧过的，beans you should eat. Good. Good, thank you. So now, finished. Very simple. That's very good. So now, the mantra of this Avalokiteshvara, the 7 syllables, Om Mani Padme Hum Shri. So, please repeat after me. Om Mani Padme Hum Shri.
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 Now the Radhful. Shibbaza Gorda. 하얀 길과 훌루훌루 홍배. Shibbaza Gorda. 하얀 길과 훌루훌루 홍배. Shibbaza Gorda. 하얀 길과 훌루훌루 홍배. Oh yeah. Now completed. Oh yeah. I think the mantra of the goddess Tara, that also I think very useful. So repeat after me. Om Tare Tudare.
Om Tare Tudare.
Turi Soha.
Turi Soha.
Om Tare Tudare.
Om Tare Tudare.
Turi Soha.
Turi Soha.
Om Tare Tudare.
Om Tare Tudare.
Turi Soha.
Turi Soha.
Then mantra of Manzushiri. Om Arabaza Nadi.
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 그래서 숨 쉬세요. 니르베. 숨. 3. Oh, good. So. Now very good. Right time. So, so now this year's university, our meeting now completed. So, as now the 3 days we have some discussions. So keep in your mind these points, and if you have serious interest, then implement or transform into action like that. And particularly those serious people, I think as I mentioned earlier, this is daily the prayer. I think this one very good. Every day, determine altruism. That's very helpful. So, then meantime, some recitation, if you wish. But recitation not very important. But important is transform our mind, our attitude. That's very important. So now that's all. That's
So in the meantime, His Holiness will perform the concluding rituals.
많이 요즘에는 되게 되게 선제지 dinner sudan has to do it. Never know channel was almost super different bands I saw. This is one of the road 자다 군지 저소다로 좀 개완되다 저저 뭐 조선시대 개완도 뭐가 저는 다가 개서 상부 쩌저 좀 뭐. 예.